Hello everyone, welcome to the session. So today's agenda is to make you familiar with various set methods. In my previous session, we have gone through the examples of various set methods, and then as well as the inbuilt methods, basically what is in Python inbuilt methods are there. Let's say for example, one of the inbuilt method is actually length alien. In alien, it's not specific for set. We can use alien for string, alien for list, alien for tuples, alien for dictionaries, alien for length alien to find out the length of a set too. So these are the use cases of alien method. Similarly, we do have add method over here in the for the set. So in set add method, what it is going to do? It is going to add a element. It is going to add a single element. Okay, add an element into a given set. You should remember that when you are dealing with set, the items are actually not ordered. We are not in order because whenever we are adding something, we have no clue when the item is actually going to be added. It can be added at the end, in between, or at position number 2 or position number 0. That completely depends on the system. We have no control over it. Then update method. In the update method, we can add multiple items, multiple set items. Let's say using add, you can add one item. Using update, you can add more than one items. I can say when I'm talking about multiple, it is more than more than one item. Then we have gone through copy method. Whenever a requirement is you want to copy, and that copy should be a shallow copy, that is copying the item or cloning the items from a given set. Use copy method. If you use like equal to symbol, let's say S1 is a set and you want to execute like S2 equals to S1, in that case it is a dip copy. In that case, it is a dip copy. Any modifications you are doing in set 2 or set 1, it will take effect in both the sets. So that is the difference between copy and equals to. Then difference is nothing but same as the minus operations, whatever minus operation what we have done. Let's say S1 is having 4 items and S2 is also having 10 items. S1 4 items, S2 is having 10 items. Now there are 3 items which are common. If we do S1 minus S2, then the common items will be removed from S1. I mean, in case of difference, it is going to only display. But in case of difference update, it is going to remove the common items, and that is a permanent change. Once done, we cannot restore it back unless you are having a copy. Okay, so that's all about difference and difference update. Then the next one is discard and remove. In case of discard, you can actually discard the item, and even if the item is actually not present, for example, item is not present in the set 1, for example, discard method is not going to throw any error. But wherein remove method, the difference is remove method is going to throw error. So this is what we have actually done so far. Now let us get familiar with the remaining set methods. Let us get familiar with remaining set methods. The first one I'm going to tell you here is, let us define, let us create a new Python file. Okay, and the next method we are going to learn is intersection. Okay, so now here I'm just giving set method intersection Python file. Let's say I'm having a set 1. I'm just, for simplicity, I'm just giving like the numbers 10, 20, 30, and 40. Guys, remember, set items cannot, let's say, for example, if I'm giving 40 here, let us see what is going to happen. Here you can see like there is no error message. You are defining 40. Let us see what is there in set. Now print S1. This is interesting. This is an interesting use case. Let us look at here. I just given S1. While printing it, let us see what's happening. It is giving 40, 10, 20, 30. Even if you are adding 40, 100 times or n number of times, it's of no use. Because while dealing with set, like now you are actually defining it here, right? Uh, because we are hard coding 40, 40, 40 multiple times. While running it, the set is referencing as only 40, 10, 20, 30. So set should not contain duplicates. But maybe when you are actually testing a skill and you are getting like this kind of question, s1 equals to this, and then print up s1 and having multiple items, multi-choice questions are, you are going to get error because set should not have duplicate item. Uh, Second, set should actually print as is because we are defining the items like this. It should print everything. Third, it should actually print 10, 20, 30, and 40 in order for 10, 30, 10, 30, 20, and 40 in random order. The answer should be the fourth one, 10, 20, 30, and 40 in the random order. So now let me remove this. So this is for your understanding only. I have actually given duplicates. Now look at here. So this is 10, 20, 30, and 40. Now I have another set that is known as H2, and S2 is containing let's say 100, 20, 30, 40, then 50, then 60. Okay. Now what I want to do here is I want to print S1, or I can say, okay, let us see like what's happening. S1 dot intersection of S2. If you are familiar with mathematics of mathematic operation, set, subset, superset, intersection, union, then difference, symmetric difference, all these things are actually going to do it right now. Okay, if you are able to in the college days, you must have gone through all these things. So now we are doing an intersection of this. Now, when we are actually doing an intersection of this running the program, here you can see the intersection, it is saying 40, 20, 30 are common items. It is not going to print 20, 30, 20, 30, and 40. It is going to print 40, 20, and 30. Okay. So now this is like intersection. Union. If you want to actually do a union, it is also same. Like what you can do, you can actually do union of H2. Remember, if you are having 10, 20, 30, 40, then 100, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, it will be giving the unique items from the two sets. The output will be 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, 50, and 60 in any order. Now, if I'm running this program, here you can see 100, 40, 10, 50, 20, 60, and 30 in any order. We don't know what order, but it is going to give in the random order of the union of all the elements. So this is like union and intersection. Let's say you are having a list that is L1 and which is the same thing. Now the question is, I have a list. This is a tricky question. I have a tricky requirement. I have a list L1. I have a list L2. Can you get me the unique items from L1 and L2? Okay, so now I'm having L1 and L2 here. The requirement is get me the unique items. How do I get the unique items? So what I can do here is I can specify, let's say my output of S, that is a set output set, is set. Like this is null set, I'm just defining, or empty set. Now I'm just giving here out underscore s dot update. Let's say in the update what we can actually pass, let us see in the update we can pass a iterable. Now let us see if I'm passing a list one, what is going to happen, whether it is going to work or it is going to throw error. Let me tell you here. what's going to happen? Let us run this and then see what is going to happen. It is saying 40, 10, 20, 30 is actual present. I told okay fine. Now my requirement is identifying the unique items from these two lists. So what you can do? Out.s update L2. Okay, so now out.s is here. If I'm running this program, out.s, it is giving me 140, 10, 50, 20, 20, 60, and 30. Now the question is, I don't want this. I want a list. So then what you can do is, you can do list of what? List of out underscore s, because my requirement is I want a list which should contain the unique elements from the list 1 and list 2, so that is list 3. Now if I do print L3, then in this case you can see like here it is a list 40, 10, this one. Now you can say okay, I want this list, but I want it in the list in the sorted order. You can actually give like okay, sort it. So now let's say if I'm giving here sorted order, let me see like what is happening. Okay, so it should not be like this way. We should actually give like L3 dot sort, L3 dot sort. Okay, now look at here. If I'm giving this here, what's happening? Okay, so now we can give sort of L3 or L3 dot sort and then call this, because we need to sort it. And if you can look at your sort returns null, because it is going to modify the original set. Sort the list ascending order and return none, because it will be modifying the original list. So this L3 will be modified. Now if I do print of L3, now you can see the items in the sorted order. Now see here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and 100. Now your requirement is I want in the descending order. What you can do here is you can specify sort and reverse equals to true. Reverse equals to true. Now, if I print L3, you can actually see the output. If I'm running this program, here you can see it is 100, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. So this is how you can actually deal with unique, well, like now, if your requirement is to get unique elements from given lists, 2 lists, 3 lists, 5 lists, this is one of the shortcut we can actually use. Okay, this is how we can actually use instead of like writing our own logic, doing a for loop, check if it is present in the list 1, not present in the list 2, then append it and all these things. Instead of doing that, just this is the easiest way we can actually deal with the lists to identify the unique items. So anyway, so now we are actually done with intersection and union. Now what I'm going to tell you right now is there are actually 2 methods. One is intersection update. Similarly, how we are having difference update, we do have intersection update. We do not have union update. Okay, and then we do have something like symmetric difference and symmetric difference update. Let us see like how to deal with this one. Now I'm writing another program. In this program I'm just going to use set intersect update. Okay, so now look at here. This is my 2 programs. Now here I'm just given intersection. Instead of intersection, I'm just giving intersection update of S2. Earlier, okay, let us first understand here intersection of this one, and then checking like print of S1. Let us see what is going to happen. Okay, there will be no change in S1 print. There is no change in S2 as well, because it returns the copy. It doesn't change anything in the given lists. Okay, 40, 20, 30 it is printing, but it's not changing anything. Now let us say like what is going to happen here. Let me put a asterisk mark followed by 50 times, like multiplying 50 times, so 50 asterisk mark will be printed. So instead of this one, what we are actually going to do, we are going to do s1 dot whenever we are actually doing a update, we do not return it. Like it should be like this: intersection update s1 dot intersection update dot s2, then print s1 and s2. In this case, what it is going to do, let us understand by executing this program. Now let us look at here. So what has happened here? We have actually executed intersection update. If you look at 40, 20, 30 was the common items, right? Intersection was returning this. 10 is not present here. What it is going to do? It is going to remove the item from H1. What it is going to do? I'm just going to mention here. This will remove the item or items from H1 which are not present in H2. This is intersection update. If I want to do, let's say, for example, I'm just going to restore it back here. I'm just going to restore the sets back here. And then I do have something like this. S2, this is S1, S2. I want to do a intersection. Now, intersection of S2, what it is going to do, let us see. I do want this one. What I can do here is, I'm just going to check S2 intersection of S1. That means common items. What are the common items? 20, 30, 40. So now in this case, S2, if I do S1, it will be having 10, 20, 30, 40. But if I print S2, it will be only having 20, 30, and 40. Now let us look at here. If our output is correct or not, output is absolutely correct. So this does the same thing. Okay, this does the same thing like now what we have done here, it is doing the same thing here. Okay, so this is how the intersection update works. Real-time use case. The real-time use case, you are actually comparing, let's say, the properties of two servers, and you want to actually identify what are the common things. Let's say, for example, to make it very simple, you have written a program which is going to fetch the installed programs from your dev server, then store it in the set 1. Then in the set 2, pick all the installed softwares from the server 2, which is a prod server, and then compare which packages are actually common in both the servers. So in that case, what you can actually do, you can go ahead with the intersection. Just if your requirement is just to find out what is the intersection, no need to change anything. Use intersection. If your requirement is to change it or identify the common items and then update the first set, then in that case what you can actually do, you can use intersection update. So we are done with union, intersection, and intersection update. Now I'm just going to pop. I'll just tell you at the last, we have done pop in the traversal. I'll just tell you again, don't worry about it. Now I'm just going to tell you about symmetric difference and symmetric difference update. Symmetric difference and symmetric difference update. Let us write the program, then understand like now how it is working in the real time. Now new Python file, I'm just giving like now set symmetric update. Okay, now look at here. Now here I'm just giving like print. Remember guys, when you are actually using update, difference update, intersection update, symmetric difference update, then you need to call set dot. It doesn't return anything. Update will be returning null. But in case of right now, because it will be modifying this same set. But in case of you want to know what is the symmetric difference, you can definitely give s1 dot symmetric update or symmetric difference of s2. So what symmetric difference does, like just focus on it, you can find out. Return the symmetric difference between two sets. The question is, what is symmetric difference? You don't know, then it is returning the symmetric difference. Let us see like now what it is returning. Guys, remember it returns the unique items. On the items which are not common. Okay, that means we'll return the items which are not common, which are not common. If you give difference, then let us say let us give difference and see. Instead of semantic difference, don't give semantic difference, just give difference. Now look at here. Difference is returning what is present in the first set, but not present in the second set. In case of difference, return the items which are present in first set but not in the second one. Okay, so now, but in case of symmetric difference, return the items which are not common. 10 is not common, 100 is not common, then 60 and 50 are also not common. So it will be returning in random order. Now, if I'm running this program, I'm getting 50, 100, 10 and 60. Next time what it is going to give, even I don't know. We need to execute and we can see it is giving 50, 100, 10 and 60. Okay, so now if I'm running this again, if it is a string, it will return in some other order which we do not know. Okay, so now this is how the symmetric difference is actually working. Now, if I give symmetric difference update, what it is going to do? Symmetric difference update. Okay, and remember, guys, if you focus on symmetric difference update, right? Update a set with the symmetric difference of set and like another set basically. So now if I'm using this, let's say I'm just printing it, let us see what we are going to get. As I mentioned, it will return null. All updates, difference update, intersection update, semantic difference update. It returns null. Like in our case, like in the previous example, I've shown sort. You should explicitly do it in one line, then print the given set because it does the operation in the set itself. It will modify the S1 in this case. Now here we can give like print of S1 and to see whether the set has been modified. So now let us see if I'm running this. Here you can see S1, S2 was there. Now S1 has been modified to 100, 10, 50 and 60. Now what was the S1 value earlier? S1 value was 10, 20, 30, 40. Now it is saying 100, 10, 50, 60. Without understanding the basic concept, you'll not able to interpret in the real time what's happening. So whenever we are having semantic difference like this, it is actually going to print the which are not common. Let's say for example, the same example I'm just giving. Server 1 software list, server 2 software list. Now you want to actually identify which softwares are not in sync, like present in server 1 but not present in server 2, then present in server 2, not present in server 1. Instead of doing it manually, if you're having hundreds of software, you cannot actually do that, right? So now what you can actually do is you can get it, store it in a set programmatically, basically, like not going to type it, right? Store it in a set, find out the semantic difference. Okay, the semantic difference will be giving the softwares which are not present in both the sets. Then you can actually identify which is present in one but not present in two. How do I identify it? You can use other operations like difference, union, based on your requirement. You can actually use this. So that is the use case of set functions. So this is all about symmetric difference and symmetric difference update. Now I'm just going to tell you set, subset, and set and subset. So set, subset, set is there. Like we do have a set method. We have gone through it. Then each subset is superset. Now let me tell you here. Is subset and superset. Now here we go. Python file, and then we are writing a program. Let's say set, subset, and superset. Okay, now Python file here. I'm just giving 10, 20, 30, 40. Let me add it 10 here also. Now I'm just going to tell if S1 is a subset of S2. Now I'm just giving here print S1 dot subset of is subset of S2. It will return Boolean values, will give true or false. Let's say in this case, if I'm running this, it is going to return as true. Now, you have noticed like I have added extra 10 over here. Let me do one thing. Don't want to actually do this. What I'm going to do here is I don't actually add 10. Now, here I'm just giving S3. Let us see. So when you are telling subset, that means all items of S1 should be part of set 2. In this case, then his subset is going to return as true. But in S3, if you look at 10 is not present. Instead of S2, if I'm giving S3, definitely it must return false because it false. Okay, and in this case, it is going to return as true. Okay, so now run the program. Here you can see it is returning true and false. Similar way, you want to check if S3 is a superset of S1. That means S3 contains everything which is present in S1. So let me check whether it is like how it is going to work. See here, instead of S2, I'm just checking is S2 superset of S1 superset. Okay, so if you at least remember, right, the basics mathematical operations, then you can definitely deal with this. If S3 is a superset of S1, the answer is no, S3 is not superset of S1. So in this case, S2 superset of S1, that means all items of S1 present in S2. S3 superset of S1, all items of S1 is present in S3. Look at here, 10 is not present here, so it is going to return false. S2 is superset. Yes, it is true because S2 contains all items which are present in S1. If I'm going to run this program, here you can see it is actually returning true and false. So this is one of the use case of the subset and superset. So now here we go. So we are done with is subset, is superset, semantic difference update, and union. Now also we have gone through intersection and intersection update. Now what are pending? First we have gone through the example. Will revisit that is at last, and then because that is useful, we'll go through like a few more examples of pub. Then is disjoint. What is disjoint? Let me tell you that. Let me run this program. It is all through example because otherwise you will not able to understand the concept. You may actually have a question, how do I memorize these methods? Is there any shortcut? There are no shortcuts. Is Subbu using all these methods every day? Answer is straight no. It is on case basis. You should understand the case. You should memorize that there are methods available. If you do not, what if you are unable to memorize it, then how do you deal with it? Let's say Python 3, some methods are there. Python 4, something is deprecated. Ideally, it will not get deprecated. It will be added, more methods will be added. Unless there is a problem, they are not going to deprecate any of the existing methods, ideally, because for backward compatibility. Now, if I'm just giving is a disjoint, what is this disjoint is going to do, we'll understand it. Okay, so now let's say I'm just giving S1 print again, print. Remember guys, is lower, is upper, right? Is let's say, yeah, for example, you want to actually check if it is a number or anything numeric. Wherever you find is, that returns a Boolean value. In this case, it is disjoint, right? Let's say what is this disjoint? S1 dot is disjoint. Now disjoint, what it is going to do? It is going to tell whether the elements, let's say for example, S3 equals to, I'm just giving here, let's say A and B, A and B, that's it. Okay, is disjoint of this one, and then here we say is disjoint of S3. Okay, and then we run it, it should return as false and true, and then we'll see. false and true. Why I tell like false and true? Because this disjoint is, let us focus here and to find out the documentation, returns true if two sets have null intersection. In a layman understanding, I'm just saying, when it is null intersection, that means the two sets doesn't have any common items. Only then null intersection, right? Two sets have a null intersection. That means A, B, 10, 20, 30, 40, null intersection. If I say I have like this A, B and then 10, in this case what it is going to return? In this case it is, let me mark it as S4. Okay, now if I'm going to do S1 dot is disjoint of S4, in this case it is going to return as false again. False again. It is going to return as true because 10 is a common item and 10 is a common item. Now in this case, it is also going to return as false. Okay. So now S4 containing a 10. If I do S1 intersection S4, result will be 10. If result is 10, then definitely it is false. Is disjoint? It is like intersection. There should not be nothing. Okay, or you can say sets are different. Let's say, for example, I want to do it programmatically. I have like two sets, like the list of, again the same thing, list of software from server 1, list of software from server 2. If server 1 software is not exactly matching with server 2, then there is some problem, like completely different altogether. In that case, how do you programmatically handle it? I can specify here if S1 dot is disjoint of S3, let's say in this case S3. Here I'm just giving like a print sets are different. Sets are different. Okay, so this is the real-time use case. Now, whenever you do it, we do not actually do like print like this. We use it with a conditional statement, if and if. Wherever you want, we can actually implement this. So that's all about is disjoint. Now you should be wondering like how many other methods are actually available. Now look at here. To check the method, what you can actually do, you can actually do S3 dot. If you're actually using any ID, you can actually set it, see it here. Is disjoint, is subset, is superset, union, update, semantic difference, intersection update, discard, remove, right? And here you can see difference update, cleared. We have gone through like now we can clear the entire set, copy, add, and pop. That's all about the set methods. So now I'm just going to tell you the last example. As I have told in the beginning, we'll go through examples of pub to understand how the set is actually working. Let me pick this set and write a program to revisit how the pub is working. That's the last method of set. Set method pub. We have gone through like a traversal. Let me do it again. Let's say this is the set. Okay. Now using for loop will pop it. Using while loop will also pop it. For let's say here I can say for I in range of length of S2. Okay. I in range of length of S2. Then what we can actually do here is print S2 dot pop. Like one by one, we are going to pop it. Now let us see here. If I want to pop it and then give a end here, end equals to, I'm just giving here like the item separator. Here I'm just giving like this, a space and then pipeline. Okay, space, pipeline, and space. Now if I'm running this program, now look at here the interesting output here. It is giving us the values. It's 10, 100, 20, 30, 60. In random order, we are actually popping it. Now, your requirement is, okay, fine. Now I want to do it using while. How do I do it? If you do like print of S2 here, you can see the S2 is going to print because S2 will be null. So S2 is going to print as the output you are going to get as set. Now here you can see you are getting set here. If you want a slash n there, you can definitely give a slash n. Then this one slash n is actually new line. Now here you can see like it is giving like set. So that's all about, or you can actually put a plus sign. That is, hope you remember all these things. We have told you in the beginning. Okay, so we can, some reason it is not working with slash n, that's fine. So we can actually leave a comma here, and then we can say comma separator equals to nothing. Okay, now look at here. If I'm running this program, here you can say it is returning like the element separated by pipeline, then followed by set. Okay, set is null. Now let me reset the set again. Now I want to do it using while loop. I can give, instead of using range, length, in, and all these things, like preferably you can use a while loop when your requirement is to traverse a set until the set is null, or until the set is actually empty. It's not null, it is empty. Then pop the items. I can see here like print the same print statement, and here I'm just going to use a different separator. Let's say instead of a single pipeline, I'm just going to use like a double pipeline, for example. Okay, so now if I'm running this program, you can actually see the result. The result is it is giving like a 50, 100, 20, and then 40, 10, and all these things. So again, how it is working, in the which order it is working. If you want to actually understand, you can go and read the internal documents, like to understand how Python is processing set. Definitely Python documentation can help you up to some extent. If you're doing research on that, please go ahead and study. If your focus is on only development automation, just make sure this is the order how it is working. Now we are done with like now all the data types, like number, string, special data type none, then complex numbers, then we have actually gone through string, then list, tuple, dictionary, set. Now going to use what? When you have elements, you want to actually process using index, you have two options, list and tuple. Now you should actually take a call. Is the items immutable? I mean, sorry, is the variable should be immutable? In this case, if it is immutable, you want like an immutable, then in that case go for tuple. If you want like it should be mutable because there is a requirement of changing the values, this is a later point of time, part of business logic, go for a list. Next thing, you want to actually store certain amount of information about a country or a person or the server or your transaction or about your customer. The best data type is to use dictionary. It is more meaningful. If you are using dictionary, then you will be familiar with like a JSON type of thing. Sure, whenever needed, like use the same data for doing a post operation on a RESTful API, you can use like JSON library, JSON.dump, and all these options are actually available in the upcoming sessions. You are going to learn it in the file, like special files, how do you deal with JSON and all. You'll come to know like how it is working. So you can actually use dictionary. The question is then when to use set. Set is required whenever you want to do some kind of differences, common items, or you want to process in the random order, or you want to actually have like identify well, like what are the common items, what are the unions, like so all these operations is possible only in case of set. Don't be confused. List one you are having, list two you are having, and you are thinking like, no, I'll just union it, list one dot union. It is not possible. Let's say, for example, here, if I give s2 dot union, s2 dot union, it is actually giving union. But if I have like an h2, I've just changed it to like a list. Okay. And now if I'm giving h2 dot, here you can see if I'm giving union, it is saying there is it union you cannot do because s2 has been modified, right? Just after s2 we cannot modify, right? Now let me go over here and tell like s2 dot. Now s2 dot, here you can see union is available because it is detecting in the line one it is a set, so it is suggesting union, you can actually use it. But if I'm going to line number 10, yeah, that is the reason why we are actually using editors, IDs. Now, if I'm giving here, I'm just telling like the union, system itself is not suggesting. That means the type of variable, whatever we are using, the data type has been changed. Okay, so these are the cases that you can actually understand from this example. So with this, we are done with set. Now let us revisit our course content for some time. Now look at here. So set, I have gone through all the example. Dictionary, I have told you like all the examples of dictionary. Dictionary traversal, tuple, list, it is like from last 10 sessions, I believe. We are actually dealing with like the control statement, strings, list, tuple, dictionary, concept. Trust me, apart from whatever we have been like learning together, right? On these data types, there is nothing new you are going to deal with. Even if you are actually going for any site, any documentation, or reading anything, any book, you can find the more or less similar examples or different examples. Complex examples are there. If I start writing, you will not able to understand the concept well. So I'm just making you understand the concepts. In the real time, we can deal with the data types. So that's all about it. Then our future sessions, we are going to learn function, and this is going to take at least 2 or 3 sessions to have meaningful knowledge on functions. So with this, we are done for the day, and I'm just stopping the